organize myself. All right, guys.
I was waiting for the countdown just a second.
We're not on our software right now. We're on an actual phone because we're live, you guys, for our 100th episode of Behind the Bikini. Can you believe it? It's crazy.
I cannot believe it.
We made it to triple digits. Fucking nuts.
That is awesome. Thank you guys for being here for 100 episodes.
That's crazy. Like, it really does feel like, I know it's so cheesy to say that, but like it feels like it was yesterday when we started doing this.
It literally does.
Yeah.
Yeah, like how has time already passed so fast?
It's been 2 years. It'll be, technically in a month, it'll be 2 years.
Yeah.
So it's like, damn.
Yeah. Time literally flies. Like, how are we already more than halfway through this year?
I know.
It's kind of scary.
I mean, we're here at USA's right now this weekend, which is like the midway point of all the national shows for the year too. So it's just crazy when you start thinking about how quickly it's gone by.
Yeah.
You're like, God, I know. Well, see, I'm taking a step back from traveling to shows and stuff. Like, I'm going to try and go to finals tomorrow. I've actually got a photo shoot tomorrow.
Oh, fun.
So,
that's cool.
I was going to go to prejudging, but the girl that was going to do this show that I worked with got her pro card at Masters. So,
there you go.
Don't need to go to prejudging. So, I'm like, we don't need to do that. So, I'm going to try and go to finals tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see how my schedule pans out and stuff like that. But
yeah, I had like 3 going to North Americans, and then 2 of them got their pro card last weekend. So now I only have 1. I know. I'm like, what's going on here?
That sucks.
I
We're
know.
just coaching people too well, son of a bitch.
This team's on fire.
Oh man. So today we just thought we would make this podcast all about you guys. Since we have been here, now we're at triple digits for, 100 episodes. We asked for a bunch of questions. I got a handful in it. You probably got in a bunch as well. So Did you have any that you wanted to start out with?
Sure, why not? I mean, we just got all of these, so we'll just kind of start going through them.
No questions at all.
Yeah, no, none at all. All right, so this one is from Miss Kayla. She is asking, how long does it actually take to build bikini muscle for most to be competitive?
And before I forgot to do the like, comment, subscribe.
Yes.
Buttons. I forgot.
We'll just cut that, put
right there.
a little bit of
Anyway, so how long does it take? It depends on what level you're going into, I'd say. Local level, I think you probably could do it after, a couple years of lifting. National level, probably another year. Pro level, probably another year. Every time you go up a level, I would say, another year, tacking on at least. And that's if everything's optimal and if you're actually training for the division and all that.
Well, it depends too, like how much muscle are you coming with? Some people come into the sport as already a collegiate athlete and they're, graduating, or an athlete in general their entire life, so they already have an established layer of muscle. A lot of people come into this from like CrossFit and powerlifting. So, in those cases too, they almost have too much muscle in the wrong area. So then you have to redefine it. So it really depends on like your starting point. But let's say like what Sean's saying, like you're coming from, bare bones, probably about a year for everything. Like a year to do your first show, a year to be more competitive at the national level, and then in the pro league, a year to 2 years. So, it takes what it takes. It takes time, and it takes discipline and patience, and there really is no timeline. Bodybuilding is an endless journey. We talk about this. Like, even the winners of the Olympia still get feedback after the show. Nobody ever's like, you're perfect. Just continue to, keep the same thing.
Damn, you're perfect.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, and on that same note too, it's the concept of, like you said, if you're coming from a sport where you had more muscle, you may have to just reshape it. So it's very different depending on where you're coming from. As we always say, it depends, kind of a caveat no matter where you are. And again, it's training for that specific division. It's not just going to the gym, right? So
and learning how to train for bodybuilding, especially if you're coming from a different background, which it's hard. It's really, really hard. I came from a powerlifting background where everything was hard and heavy and not so focused on a certain muscle group, and it took time to untrain that pattern and then retrain for bodybuilding. I honestly think bodybuilding is harder that way because it's so specific, the way that you have to train, isolate those certain movements to hit the certain muscles that you want to grow, but then not allowing others to grow. It's a fine line.
Yeah. And I mean, just a good example, I just signed on a new client this week, and I've been working with her for years, but she hasn't competed in years.
Okay.
So she competed back when Bikini was like Fit Model back in the day, when we just like starved ourselves to get on stage and everything. So when she sent me all of her information and like her macros and everything, I was like, you need to eat way more than this. I was like, first of all, and like, I loved her attitude too, because she came at it after reviewing everything. She's like, I'm just coming at this like I don't know anything. She's like, I'm just going to come out with a clean slate. Like, I am completely a novice at this, and just ask every question, ask too many questions. Instead, I prefer you do it that way, because it's completely different from the way she trained for stage prior to this. So, things have changed. And then also, I was going to mention too, not just taking a year, but taking that year off, like not in prep.
Yeah. That's what we mean by off season.
Yeah. A lot of people think when you say a year off, it's like, oh, I'm going to get on stage again this year. It's like, no, that barely even gives you any time to grow, because you got to go through your reverse. So however long you were dieting for, you got to do that again backwards. Then you build, then you got to diet again. So a full year of actually building before you get on stage.
Yeah, that off season I took before I turned pro was a total of 14 months, but obviously some of that was prep. So like really 12, like a full solid 12 months of like not dieting, being in a caloric surplus, adding body fat, training super hard that season, like a full 12 months off stage.
Yeah. So just realize that you're going to spend a lot more time off stage than you are on, a lot more time in building season than you are in prep season, things like that. So give yourself the time. And one of the worst things you can do to yourself too is just cutting those seasons short, just because you want to get back on stage.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the number one things I have to argue with people about. It's like, you'd be so much better if you could just take a few more months and just build for a few more months, and then we can get you to be really competitive at the next level.
Yeah. The sport of bodybuilding.
Yeah. Bodybuilding, not body breaking.
Body built or body breaking. Exactly.
Yep.
Okay, the next one is from Miss Allegra. Hi, Allegra. You actually turned pro at this show last year,
there you
so
go.
Happy 1 year. She is asking if there was one thing you could change about the judging criteria for bikini, what would it be?
Conditioning.
Me too. Okay, so in what way?
You like your physique a little harder, but I wish that it was a little softer.
See, I say harder.
Yeah. See, I like the conditioning stuff. I've always been an advocate of, I love muscle on women, but I think the one thing that damages women's hormonal panels and things like that the most is the conditioning.
Yeah.
So I would rather see bigger, rounder, fuller.
Yeah.
Like take, for lack of a better term, take fit model, put it on steroids. Then you got you got bikini.
Right.
So I don't like the full etched in tie-in. I like round, full, bubbly muscles, so I would rather see it fuller and rounder.
Yeah, and I love that look too, but I think it's harder as a coach, and as a judge to
it's a harder,
it.
Yes, it's a harder look to get, 100%.
Right.
Yes.
And so that's what makes bikini the moving target all the time, is that's the criteria, where if it was more conditioned, it's just like, who's got the shape for bikini in the right places with like this level of conditioning.
Yep.
But yeah, I would like to see a little bit harder.
And I think that's the difference between like a national level physique and a pro level physique. Like
100%.
If you're at the national level and you're super conditioned, you're going to get in that first call out and potentially win.
Yeah.
Once you go to the pro league, you have to have that fullness and that roundness and that bubbliness, as well as the conditioning. So that's what changes when you get to that pro level, which is why you see a lot of people go pro and then never do anything after that, because they just can't get that fullness. So yes, I agree. As a coach, it's much easier just to get everybody really hard,
lean, muscle in the right
much easier. But
that's the challenge though, especially as a coach too.
Yeah.
Okay. Also from Allegra, what is your favorite and least favorite part about the Olympia?
Well, my favorite is that it's the Olympia. It's the Super Bowl. I mean, my favorite part, honestly, is stuff that happens after the show, like just hanging out and like, getting a chance to talk to everybody. Everybody in the sport is in one place at one time. So that's my favorite part. Least favorite is sitting through prejudging for fucking hours. That is my least favorite part. I mean, even just one division alone takes hours, because you got bikini. I mean, at this point we're at 60 athletes or something like that are
61.
Yeah, that are qualified, and we're not done. So like that is literally over an hour of just routines in the morning.
Individuals, yeah.
Yes. Over an hour of just individuals. So then you add in comparisons, which each one of those comparisons takes about 8 to 10 minutes. It's 2 hours worth of prejudging. It's crazy. It's crazy.
I would agree. Like the least favorite part for me, and especially as an athlete, is prejudging, because the time, and then also you have to be so on top of yourself. You have to think, like for me, I'm Brandon, so I'm towards the front half of the individuals, so I have to be so on who's on stage and how long it's been, because I have to keep pumping and making sure that I'm eating at a certain time, so that by the time that I come back out for actual first call outs, I didn't lose my pump.
Yeah.
So it's kind of stressful, when
100%.
you're backstage, and the Olympia does not allow coaches backstage. Plus you're in a auditorium where everybody's trying to use their cell phone. So like the last couple of years, it's been very hard to get in touch with Jamie backstage because there's no cell phone reception. So it's just a very stressful environment. We do the best we can to make sure that we know what we're supposed to be doing and when, but it's just a lot going on and very stressful.
Yeah.
My favorite part, just like Sean said, is everybody, all of our friends, everyone, your fans, everybody's in the one spot for the weekend. The energy there is wild. It's fun. Like I honestly love like Thursday, like the Meet the Olympians day, and getting my glam done and the photo shoots and things like that. Like that's like more like the fun time. And then Friday honestly is like my favorite day, like all-time favorite day, because there's nothing going on. Like all you get to do is just focus on what you're doing and get in the zone. And but just the environment itself is amazing. We talk about that all the time. Like you don't need to buy finals tickets. Like even for this year with my friends, like they're all coming and I'm like, don't buy finals tickets. Everybody go buy the POV, go in the hotel room or watch it downstairs with everybody. It's just a really cool environment.
Yeah, agreed. And actually they're doing something new this year, because I noticed it when I was going to look at tickets, where you can buy the Expo Elite. So now you can buy tickets that get you into the seated portion of the prejudging, which you couldn't do that before. You either had to have the VIP tickets or you were press or whatever, and that was it. So now you can actually just get, which is what I want. I'm like, I don't even, same thing. I don't care about finals. I mean, nothing happens at finals other than routines,
right?
Except for the men, of course.
Right.
But so I'm like, I'd rather have that VIP for prejudging.
That's a good change. I like that too.
Absolutely,
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
This is a good one for our 100th episode. Somebody, Tiffany, is asking, how did you guys both start the podcast? What's the original story?
Well, you had won Tahoe, so actually back it up from there for Cuties Conquering the Stage.
Yep.
So we had Fit Body Fusion as one of our main sponsors for Cuties Conquering the Stage, and one of the girls that was supposed to come as a coach got sick. So, like, literally with 24 hours till the event?
No. Well, till the event.
To the event.
I had 6 hours from when Jamie called till I stepped on a plane to head there.
She reached out and said, can any of the coaches come? Jordan said, let me in, I'll go, and everything. And she came and presented and all that kind of stuff, within a matter of less than 24 hours. So that already told me like what her character was. That was a big indicator. I mean, you reached out to me prior to for feedback and things like that as well. So we had talked before and everything as well. And then you won Tahoe and was like, hey, can I come on and talk about, my feedback and stuff like that on live? And so she did. And she said, hey, if you ever need any help with anything? I was like, well, we actually had really good chemistry on screen. Yeah. Like, there's a lot of times where I'll be on with somebody live or whatever, and it's just really painful trying to get through talking. Like, they just can't communicate very well. She communicates very, very well. So I was like, well, I was like, well, we have good chemistry. That's the point there. So, so I was like, yeah, let's try this. I was like, but you tell them what the caveat was.
The caveat was, which we talked about, is she was like, we're not going to start this if we're not going to go all in. Yeah. She's like, the last thing I want to see is like, some of these other podcasts where they come out for, a few episodes and they go ghost. Like, if we're going to do it, like, let's commit to it. And I was like, that's my type of woman. Like, I love somebody that's like, committed to, whatever they put their hands on. And so we went all in from the jump. And, every week it's a challenge, especially in the summer. But we always figure out a time. There's weeks where Sean needs me to, be flexible and I try to figure it out. And then most of the time it's me and Sean figures it out. And, we just continue to figure it out. And we talk about that, a lot, that it's almost a challenge to get this done, but because you guys are so communicative about how much you love the podcast and how much you listen to it, coming up to us backstage, like that's what's our motivator to keep it going.
100%. Like there isn't a day that goes by that I don't get a comment or something about this podcast from somebody.
Same.
So I know that it's impacting people, and that's the whole point. We want to make sure that we continue that. And again, we realize that a lot of you guys rely on this, so we want to be there and be reliable for you as well. So it's been fun. Almost 2 years. 100th episode and 2 years and a month.
Another rewarding moment was I was in the restroom at Masters Nationals, and an athlete came up to me and she's like, hi, I watched the podcast and I just watched your guys' podcast about like the do's and don'ts of nationals. She's like, how does my hair look? And she was going into finals, and we were talking about like how the girl's hair looks messy, and so it actually did look a little messy, so I helped her fix it in the bathroom, but it was cool. It was like, oh my gosh, like, somebody learned something, and you guys rely on the podcast for information, and I love that you guys are absorbing it and applying it. That's the whole entire point. And then if we are ever at shows, you guys are always more than welcome to come up and say hi and ask us questions, and we're there to help. We're not just here for Fit Body Fusion. We are a service to the bodybuilding community, so whatever you guys need, we're always there to help you guys out.
It's been really rewarding just outside of just even doing the podcast, but just like talking to you guys about how much it's helped. So it's been great.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. So cool. Yay. All right. Masters 45 and Masters 50. The struggles to get a pro card in bikini and fit model.
So what's the actual question? Are they asking like, what are the struggles?
What would be the struggles? I would say with the Masters, the biggest thing is core control at that level and skin texture.
Agreed.
Those are the biggest things that in Masters that you really need to apply and fix as best that you can. Obviously, like with skin texture and things like that, there's only so much you can do, but there is also a lot out there that you can try nowadays. But I remember going up for feedback last year at Universe with a few of my master's athletes, and Ettila literally said, in the master's category, it is unacceptable to not have a tight waistline. So that's like the number one thing that they look at. So I would say that's one of the biggest challenges. But I know a lot of the master's athletes say like, oh, you know, I'm old and I'm not going to be able to grow that much muscle. And I think that's just a blatant lie.
Agreed.
You guys have the muscle maturity, and you guys also have the financials and the time to be able to spend on this. So like the Masters Nationals, I've been saying this for the last 2.5 years, are the most competitive nationals that I see, more than the Open. So you guys, it does not matter. Sean says this all the time, and I coin it. Age is an attitude.
Right.
Like, and if you tell yourself you can't, then you probably won't. But you really can do a lot within the Masters 40 and the 50.
And I mean, I'm a good example. I'm going to be 44 in September. You know what I mean? I put more muscle on in the last 2 years than I have the rest of my life. You know what I mean? And it's just because I focused on it, you know? And I would agree, the skin texture thing. And like you said, the core control, but also mobility as well is a difficult part. It's
Like
really hard.
and-
Yeah. It's hard to get that stretching and flexibility as we get older, as we age. That is the first thing that starts to go. So I'm really adamant with my clients, my posing clients, everyone. You need to be stretching every day. You need to be doing yoga. You need to be doing Pilates, whatever, to get that mobility going, because you can't show what you can't pose. You can't show what
Posing
you
both
can't
sides too.
100%. 100%. So as a 45 to 50-year-old woman, you know, you have a lot of advantages, like Jordan said, about the time, the money, the resources, things like that. And with cosmetic procedures, I mean, we can look just as young as the 20-year-olds, but have that muscle maturity. So it's an advantage if you do everything else. I think it's actually more of an advantage in bikini than it will be in fit model, because of the muscle maturity, the density, and all that kind of stuff. That said, we haven't seen a ton of masters in fit model yet. But I know that a lot of the women that are winning their pro cards right now in open fit model are in their 40s.
Yes.
So I also think that if you have those things on lock, like your core control and your skin texture and things like that, it's actually an advantage for you in fit model as well, because you don't have to get quite so lean. And ladies, we know when we get leaner, what happens? The skin starts to droop and sag and wrinkle. So if we don't have to get quite that lean, it's actually a benefit for us.
Right.
So I do think that over time, we're going to see the women that have taken care of those things are going to start rising to the top, even in fit model, not just bikini.
Yeah.
So.
And then if you're listening and you're in those, you know, you're a young puppy, you know, you're 20 years old and take care of your skin now.
Yeah.
Wear sunscreen. I mean, do all the things. Take care of your skin now, and it will treat you very, very well. I mean, we look at all these Masters Olympians, you know, Tokyo's in a few weeks. Like, their skin is tight. And I ask these women all the time, because I want to know for myself with coaching Masters women, and obviously for me too, getting older, like, what do you do? And they just taking care of their skin, you know, since the beginning. So take care of your skin now, no pulling, you know, making sure that you're very conscious of, you know, what you put on your body and put on your skin, maybe starting even some, like, you know, supplements to help with skin, like collagen products, or GHKCU is a great peptide that's out right now that helps with skin texture and whatnot. So just take care of your skin now.
And even just what you eat, you know, healthy fats are very important.
Yeah.
Very, very important for your skin.
Yeah.
You know, it's the biggest organ on your body.
I was just about to say that.
Gotta take care of those healthy fats, man.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Inside out.
Yep. 100%.
I'd just like to take a moment to welcome our new channel partners, Prozis. If you are unfamiliar with them, go ahead and go down into my description box now, click on the link, go check out their site. They are the leading supplement sports nutrition company based out of Portugal, been around for 17 years. You might be asking, what makes Prozis unique? Well, everything that they make is made in-house or with trusted partners. They have to go through rigorous testing in Portugal in order to even get any products on the market. So what you're gonna find really high quality, pure supplementation. And one of the biggest things for me is I have some GI issues. So being able to eat some of these more healthy protein treats and things like that and not have any gut issues, worth its weight in gold. Go check them out. Click on the link in my description box below. Use the code CUTIES10 to get all of your discounts and even some special surprises. They're always putting out some amazing promotions. Let them know that I sent you and let me know what you think. Thanks again for watching, and thank you for supporting our channel. Now, go optimize your own athletic abilities and check out Prozis.com.
All right, next one. Do you guys work with postpartum moms? What should workouts look like postpartum?
Well, that's a it depends question. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of the clients I work with are all moms. Now, not all of them have just had a baby yesterday, but yeah, but yeah. So I mean, the majority of the women that are competing are moms. So you just have to go slow. And this is the other thing too. Like it's a lot of, it depends. What did you do during your pregnancy as well? You know, what were you capable of doing during your pregnancy? How hard was the pregnancy on you? How did you give birth? Was it vaginally? Was it C-section? All those kinds of things are going to make a difference as far as how you train afterwards. But I actually have a client now, gosh, how old is her baby now? I think 9 months or so. And we're training like normal at this point.
You can train normal pretty fast, other than obviously like C-sections and, you know, and when you're under the care of a doctor, they're going to tell you when you can get back to training. And then obviously if you're working with a physician, us as coaches have to follow their protocol. And then it's our job to obviously set the protocol based on their recommendations. But most women can get back to training pretty fast, like within 8 weeks, kind of post baby. It vaginally can even be a little bit earlier. And then just like Sean said, like during your pregnancy, it is really important for you to stay training. I mean, the research is out there that if you continue to train through your pregnancy the same exact way, that your labor and delivery is going to be much easier, and you're going to bounce back faster. I think a lot of pregnant women don't know that. They feel like they have to pull back, and it's honestly preferred that you keep pushing for as long as you can. The only contraindication is when the belly gets too big. You just don't want to be doing anything overhead, like that's going to, you know, risk you dropping something on your stomach, obviously.
Right.
But other than that, training is very, very safe to tolerance as long as nothing else is going on health-wise.
And again, it's just something that you have to do with recommendations from your doctor too. You know, some people are going to have complications in their pregnancy where they can't train and things like that, and that's fine. Those are the things we take into consideration. Again, it depends.
Right. But for the most normal, you should be able to get back to training pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Do either of you want kids? I do not plan on having any, and I feel like this is more common nowadays.
We've discussed this in the past, and the answer is no.
No.
Well, you're permanently no.
I'm a permanent no. Drew got snipped in October last year, so yes. Yeah, so for us, it was, Drew and I met when we were in college at 21 years old. It was a pretty early conversation. I have known for a very long time that I did not want to be a mother. So when I was dating, I was very conscious of that. So we had that, very early on, and he was kind of 50-50. And then the more that we started to date and develop our lifestyle, he was like, no kids for me. So we came to an understanding, and we actually tried to get him snipped when we were 24, and they were like, no, you guys got to go to a doctor and see a health counselor, and then we'll do it. And then we just waited till we were 33. So yes, no kids for us. We're very happy with golden retriever babies.
I'm the same way. And I'm a little bit, I guess I could say less, no kids kind of thing, right? I'm one of those people, like, if it happens, okay, cool, we'll deal with it, whatever. But I'm definitely not trying for it. Like, it's not something when I was younger, I thought maybe, but I really think that was more like a pressure thing from my parents more than anything else about wanting grandkids and stuff. Because as I got older, I realized I don't really want this. You know what I mean? Like, and I hate to say it like, well, if it happens, I'll deal with it. I hate to say it like that, but it's kind of that's how I feel. Like, if it happens, and it's meant to be like that. But it's not something that I want. It's not something I'm trying for.
Yeah.
So
and you're right. Like, it is more prevalent, more common. I'm actually surprised by like my group of friends in high school. Majority have kids now. Where like in our world in bodybuilding, it's more of like people don't want kids, and I'm not sure if that's from a place of more of not wanting to like get rid of the body or anything of that nature. But it is more and more common, and I know that it's taboo. It's for our parents and their generations. I remember having this conversation with my father. He's like, you're really not going to give me a grandchild? I'm like, nope, absolutely not. And it was like the shame and the guilt, and we had so many of these conversations that now he doesn't even bother me about it. But I can understand like where that pressure could come from. But again, you have to remember, this is your body, it's your child that you have to deal with. And I'm sorry, not deal with, that's a horrible way to say it.
That's the same thing. I'm like, I'll deal with it. Like, I feel bad saying it that way, but like,
but again, that's why we don't want them. We're not in that space. So but it's your child that you have to birth and raise and financially have an obligation to. So it's a big decision, and it's just not one that we would like at this point.
And I say too, I'm like, I'm kind of, people might think that's selfish. I'm like, okay, that's selfish. It is what it is. Like,
I am selfish.
Yeah, I am. Sorry, it's my life, my time. I'm allowed to be like that. It just is what it is.
Could you guys imagine our lifestyle traveling like as much as we do? I don't even feel bad for my dogs. They barely see me. And then having a human, like, it doesn't work with my lifestyle and, you know, what I do. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Don't feel bad. All that to say, don't
feel bad.
All right. This is a great one for National Show Weekend from Christina. Advice for new pro in a building phase, stage day, and for prep. Well, that's a lot. That's a lot of questions. So let's start with advice for a new pro in their building stage. So I know with this athlete, she just turned pro at Universe.
Yeah, so she's going into a building phase versus making a pro debut.
Yes.
Pay attention to the trends. And I say that because I was similar. When I won my pro card, I went directly into a building phase. So I already knew I needed to put size on. And I stayed off stage for almost a full year and came back and was still way too small. And like in that time frame, I went pro in figures. So in that time frame, the figures actually blew up as far as size is concerned. Long story short, it was like the size and conditioning was rewarded much, much higher at Olympia that year. So when I saw that happen, I was like, I don't know if I can even do this, you know, but I want to finish what I started. So I did. I went through and I did my pro debut in figure, and I did one more figure show. I was like, there's no friggin' way in hell I'm going to be this big. I just can't do it. So that's when I went to bikini. So I would say continue to watch the criteria evolution and continue to build towards that criteria evolution. So that's likely going to happen over the next year because of Fit Model, because of where we are with bikini, and because of Fit Model. So really pay attention to the trends. Really pay attention to what's going on over the next year or however long you're planning on building for.
100%. I think too, just like keeping your mindset adjusted, you know, so you just went from being at the top of nationals and, you know, fighting for your pro card and being right there and then getting that award. And then in a way, you just accomplished a huge, massive goal and you're at the top of your game. You just turned pro. Mm-hmm. However, it's almost like, you know, you get that pro card on Saturday night and then you wake up on Sunday morning and you're in the pro league and you go from here all the way back down to here to the bottom. So adjusting your mindset of being proud, but also understanding that you're the underdog, mm-hmm. and you're gonna have to work now 10 times harder, especially at the pro level, to get back up into those top spots. So, you know, coming with that underdog mentality into the gym every single week, you know, and really working towards improving. Yep. You know, like really, we talk about crate mode all the time. We talk about that mental focus in the gym. Like now more than ever is when that's needed if you want to go places, you know, in the pro division.
Yeah, and like you said, managing expectations. I think what happens to a lot of people is I hope that they have to fight for their pro card, because a lot of people win it too quickly, too easily, and then they think that's going to happen when they get to the pro league.
And it affects them.
Yeah, and 9 times out of 10 doesn't happen that way.
Yep.
So you have to realize that just because you got to the pro league quickly, that doesn't mean you're going to get to the Olympia quickly, if ever, right? It's a completely different league, completely different ball game when you get up on that stage. So, you know, managing your expectations and going in knowing that you're trying to hit that criteria box as best you can, and that's all you can control that day. You can't control who shows up because they're all going to be great. Everybody deserves to be on that stage once you're at the pro level, and it's just teeny tiny minute details, and it might not be anything that you did right or wrong. It's just maybe the way that you're put together. That's the way you were born. You can't do anything about it. You know what I mean? So again, managing your expectations.
Which is the great advice for the pro debut. Like show up to your pro debut just like you did your very first NPC show. No expectations, just going to have fun, going with a homework assignment to get yourself compared. You know, again, it's that mindset and that expectation of yourself. It's okay to be proud. It's okay to want more for yourself. Yeah. But obviously, you know, at that pro debut, they're just getting to know you. You know, there's other athletes that they've seen a lot. So you just have to know that you're back here and you're just going to have to work your way back up to the top. So get ready for the ladder, get ready for the climb.
Yep.
Okay. Name a time where you had to get uncomfortable being comfortable for success.
Get uncomfortable with being comfortable.
Yeah. So get uncomfortable maybe to be successful.
Okay. To get uncomfortable. I mean, I think for me, the thing that sticks out is every time I've switched divisions, because now I've done it 3 times.
That's a great one.
Like,
that's a really good one.
You know, I just, when I got to the pro league, like I was just saying, I was in figure. I mean, it was really clear that I wasn't going to be able to be big enough unless I took an exorbitant amount of PEDs that I didn't want to do. So, you know, I didn't want to go to bikini. Back then, bikini was like flouncy, trouncy, like I hate to say it, but like bimbo style bikini. It really was. And I was just like, I didn't want to do that. I was in the elegant figure, you know what I mean? And so but every judge was like, no, you're bikini, no, you're bikini, no, you're bikini. So I was like,
yes, I'm bikini.
It's like, well, either I don't compete anymore or I switch divisions, you know? So I had to get okay with switching. This time, switching to fit model, I'm good with it. I'm like, oh, let's go. Like, you know, so
you are like lighter, brighter.
Yeah.
You seem very sound in your decision.
Oh yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Confident in your decision.
Well, because I was getting to the point too, like we've talked about the evolution of the divisions over time, and I just know how far I can push my physique and how far I can't, or that I don't want to, you know? So, you know, I was getting to that point where I've pushed myself as far as I can go in bikini. Now it's, I mean, I don't know what else I can do. So this, for me, fit model was an opportunity where I'm like, oh, well, I could actually fit here and be happy here. You know what I mean? And of course, it's got its challenges. We've talked about this too. Now I'm at the point where all I'm doing is training 3 days a week. So it's like, well, let me just sit here and twiddle my thumbs. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm like, I still got shoulders and I literally have not touched them since fucking November. So it's like, it's been almost a year that I haven't trained upper body, which I love training upper body. So, you know, that's being uncomfortable, you know, like that's one of my favorite things to do. So it's one of those things where it's like, you have to start deciding, okay, am I going to do this because I want to do the division, or am I going to do this because I want to do this, I want to train this way, you know? So you have to be okay with those kinds of decisions.
Yeah, I think training for me, I've put myself out there so many times and gotten so uncomfortable, whether it was like really trying to put on a lot of mass and, you know, stepping into the gym and literally working to absolute failure every single set. It's uncomfortable. I tell my girls that all the time. Like, training right now is not necessarily supposed to be fun, you know, like it hurts. I've cried in the gym, I've bled in the gym, I've laid on the floor in the gym for hours. Like those are very uncomfortable sessions. And then to Sean's point too, like now that I'm at the level where I'm at, my training has completely changed. I'm not allowed to train to failure. I've had to pull back a ton. I do a lot of like little tiny like shaping exercises, and in the back of my mind, I'm an athlete. I'm like, is this right? Are we sure? I don't need to be it's a big mental adjustment, you know, pulling out my upper body. Like, are you sure? Like every move we've made, it makes you question, because especially when you go from one extreme to the other. But you always have to remember too, like with bikini especially, it's gonna change as long as you're continuing to evolve. It should. The more muscle that you grow, you should have to start pulling back, because bikini is now the second smallest division, so it doesn't need all of this muscle. Right. Once you get to that level, you have to really make sure you maintain it. So, you know, getting uncomfortable and, you know, going from one extreme to the other within training, and just trusting your coaches. You know, sometimes that's hard, especially as a coach yourself, you know, to kind of completely get off the reins and be like, okay, yep, I'm surrendering. It's easier said than done.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
That was a good one. This one's for you. Posing tips for a first timer.
First thing is pose with a coach first, like a good coach. That's the caveat there. Stay away from YouTube, stay away from Instagram, all the kind of stuff, because there's so much information out there and so much of it's wrong. So don't start posing on your own. I mean, I always tell new clients, I would rather you come to me completely green, completely fresh, so I can start you from jump the right way, versus having to unlearn bad habits, which most people I have to unlearn bad habits with. I would also say this may be a little bit sexist, but posing coach is female. There's so many women, and this is specifically for fit model and bikini, there's just so many women that go to men that don't really know how to pose those divisions. And they end up looking like bodybuilders. This happens a lot with figure too. I see a lot of figure girls posing like women's physique and bodybuilding when that's not the division. So it's like we're supposed to be round and full and all this kind of stuff, and like men want hard and straight and blah, blah, blah. So you know. So I would say I would get with a female posing coach where we can show you that flow and that femininity and all that kind of stuff, the shapes and the lines that we're looking for, and start slow. Like, so many girls come to me and they think they're going to learn everything the first session. And I'm like, that doesn't work like that. I'm like, I've been doing this for almost 20 years and I still am learning how to pose. So it's just like dancing. I always relate it back to ballroom dancing. Like, you would never expect to be a competitive ballroom dancer in the first lesson that you go in. That doesn't work like that. You learn a couple of footsteps first. And that's that's what we do. We work step by step by step. Every time you come to a session, we add something else on. As a coach, for posing, what I always do is I give you enough so that you can practice that in your time between our sessions, but I don't give you so much that you're overwhelmed and you can't get any of it right.
That's how I coach too, posing.
Yeah.
It's layers, it's foundations. It's like building a house. You start with the footwork, then you go into, you know, the midsection work, then go into the arms, then I call the cherries on top, the hair flips and this and that. But it does not all happen in the first session, that's for sure.
Yeah, and And this is all dependent on how you progress as well, because some people will progress really fast and others need more time. And neither way is wrong, but you just have to be able to take it one step at a time.
Yeah.
Every time you come to a session, we should be adding a little bit more on and a little bit more on and a little bit more on each time.
Yeah. And if not, that means you're not doing your homework.
That's right. You're not practicing at home. If we can't add on, you're not practicing.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay. What do you look for in first-time athletes interested in joining your teams?
Student mentality. That's number one. Communication, student mentality. Those are the top two for me.
Yeah, and like this one is very specific in first-time athletes. So the caveat is I can't expect you to know what you don't know, right? So I think where you need to come from is from a place of coachability, understanding nothing about the sport and you're hiring a coach to help you with that. And then the second thing is just honesty and communication. Like those two things right there, that will take you very, very far for your first season. For
Absolutely.
sure.
And like just being open, there are some clients that will just fight you on everything. And it's not wrong to ask questions. Asking questions is not fighting. Those are two different things. If I tell you to do something, you want to know why I'm telling you to do that? Cool. I can do that all day long. Then you go do it, right? Not, well, I didn't really like that idea, so I went and did this instead. I can't do anything with that. I don't know what you did. I'm not sure exactly what that was doing for you, whether it was doing anything good or anything bad. And I have no way of building upon that, right? So it's okay to question, but after you know the answer, then you've got to stick to it.
Yeah, and as a first-time athlete, you should be asking a lot of
right.
questions. You don't know a lot. We're going to try to fill in the gaps of the things that you don't know, but obviously coming to us with questions is totally fine.
Yep.
You should be asking a lot of questions, but then also, we talk about this, like not picking parts of the plan to follow and others to not. That's not being adherent.
That's right.
If you don't like something about the plan or it doesn't work for you, just make sure you communicate that. That way you can adjust it.
That's right.
Yes. Okay, this is from my athlete Kelly, who's competing tomorrow. What's one thing each of you love about the current season that you and Sean are in personally?
Oh, well, I'm in off-season, so I love all the food.
Well, I think she means just like season of life.
I'm like, food. That's what I love.
Okay.
I'm eating a lot. And honestly, that's what I love about it. Like, I feel like I'm enjoying my balance between my life and my athletic pursuits, right? Like, I can still go out and have drinks. I can still go out and eat. I can still go out and have cheat meals. I can do all those kinds of things and still grow and still make progress and still feel good and still look great. Like, this is my glow up time. Yeah, like
epitome of glow up.
Yeah, and I'm like, this is it. Like, this is where I feel my best. Period. So I love everything about this time frame right now.
Yeah, I'm really happy with where I am in life. I love living in Arizona. I love the community that we've built out there. My personal life. Yeah. Obviously as an athlete, I have done almost everything that I've wanted to accomplish in this sport. I'm so close to my final goal, so we'll see if that happens this year. And then knowing that I'm going to be done in a couple of years, so my coaching has really taken off this year. I have invested so many years into my athletes and education and continuing education courses. I'm feeling like I'm starting to see all of that fruition this year. So just really loving where I'm at right now. It's been a grind. It's been, a constant state of like checks and balances with myself as a professional, as an athlete. And then just to kind of see everything kind of settle and, start to, really flourish is really cool.
Yeah. Well, and to pivot on that too, because you talked about life stuff. I was like, I'm just talking about food.
That's what I said. So
I know.
I think you wanted everything.
I understood what you meant after you started talking about it. So, but yeah, same thing. Obviously my life has changed a lot this past year with being in Vegas and everything like that too. And the biggest thing that I've been striving for the last couple of years is kind of streamlining my whole life, which is basically what I've been doing. And it's been very good for me. Like, I've been able to focus a lot better, if that makes sense. I was just chasing too many rabbits. So now I feel like my path is a whole lot clearer and streamlined, which I really, it's made this part of me a lot healthier. My mental is a lot healthier right now.
Good. Yeah, I think we do that as business owners too, especially like in the beginning. It's like, we have all these ideas and then we kind of like chase after all of the ideas. And, just like in life, like you can't be really truly great at one thing if you have your hands in so many things. Yes. So I feel like you've really dialed into like what you want to focus on, and now everything that you are is flourishing. But it does. It takes that trial and error, because everything you put your hands into is not going to be successful, or maybe even something that you think you want to do it, and then you actually get into it, you're like, oh no, this is not for me. And that's okay. It's okay to
Yeah.
pivot and
Yeah.
realize, okay, that cool, tried it, not for me, move on, and that's what you've spent,
Yeah.
a really long time working on. So
Absolutely.
proud of you.
Absolutely. Oh,
Proud of
thanks.
you.
Pat myself in the back.
Yep, you're allowed. You're good. Okay, what is something you cannot live without when traveling a lot in the pro qualifier season?
Something I can't live without. I always bring my little French press with me. I think that's probably the one thing that I can't live without.
I mean, I bring everything I need. What is the one thing I cannot live without?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll say this, it's very simple, but literally if I don't have it, my bedside fan.
Okay.
Like if I'm hot in a hotel room, I do not sleep. I am cranky. It is not a good sign. So yeah, I'll say my bedside fan.
I was about to say my pillow because I take my pillow with me everywhere I go.
I take my baby blanket.
I have to be able baby blanket. That's so cute.
You guys can't see it. It's right there.
So funny. No, I bring my pillow. I'm that old lady that can't sleep without my pillow. So
listen, sleep's important, especially when you're on the road all the time.
Yeah.
So if you got to bring a baby blanket, a pillow, and a fan.
yeah, because I would say even with the French press, like I can get coffee at the hotel. I don't want to. I like making my own. But
I will say that having your own cup of coffee the way you like it at home on the road, that would be a
100%.
dream. If I could bring my espresso machine with me,
yeah, absolutely. That's why I bring fresh ground beans and I bring my little coffee French press. It's a travel French press.
Smart. It's really smart. All right, what is your favorite exercise for upper glute?
I mean, the one that I feel the most is whenever I do like kickbacks. That's the one I feel the most.
I was gonna say like kickback variations,
Yeah.
because it obviously depends on what you have access to.
Right.
So like my favorite upper glute right now is the Rogers ISO kickback, but I do it in a super specific way, and I've only seen this machine at the current gym that I train at, so I know it's not in a lot of gyms.
Yeah.
So it's really about finding a kickback variation, cable, a machine that really isolates and works for you.
Yeah, I mean, for me too, it's like when I use the cables because I can hold on to the bar and I can touch my glute. So if I can touch my glute, I can connect to it better. So again, that's what I feel the most. I'm not necessarily growing the most from it, but that's what I'm physically, mentally feeling the most.
My favorite kickback variation for upper glute is the crossover cable kickback, because I feel like you just get really good stretch and ROM on that one, and then you can just really target the upper glute with the position, the body position, just like you're saying, with like holding on and grounding and then being able to touch. So crossover cable kickback, if we're talking about a cable variation, is
There you go.
perfect. And then the same question is, what is a back pose tip to get upper glute to pop?
So this is very dependent on the person too. For some people, twisting the knees out will pop that glute up. For some people, it flattens the glutes.
Right.
So you have to pay attention. But for a lot of people, what that do is it'll activate that upper glute and pop it up and round it out.
And if you have a tight upper glute, even maybe bringing the knees in could help pop the upper glute. So that's what Sean's saying. It really depends on where you're tight, where the density is, your structure, things like that. But playing with the knees, toe placement, maybe mostly that's going to affect the tie-in, but you just really got to play with it. And honestly, you need mobility and making sure that the upper glute is stretched. A lot of people, we work our upper glute 24/7, so that muscle sometimes when athletes are coming into the room is just so tense. We send them down to go do a foam roller, to try to release the upper glute. So like with my athletes, I do encourage them to get body work done, obviously leading into the show, but the week of the show too, just to try to get all the glutes released in the low back for posing and things like that.
And a lot of times that tightness is not even coming from the glutes, coming from the hamstring, or it's coming from the lower back or whatever. Those kinds of things, you got to make sure that you're paying attention to those connective
All of it.
tissues and everything too. Yep.
Prep and prime work.
That right there.
Okay, I have one more. Man, we were like rolling through these.
I know we got through a lot of them, huh? Good job.
It wasn't even a question. It says no question. Just really grateful for you guys and your podcast. And then someone else said, congrats on 100 episodes. I love your podcast. I listen to it every single week.
Well, I know I had a couple that came in. One of them was asking about the how we think we're going to see Fit Model evolve through the national circuit into the pro circuit. Like, how do we think it's going to change once it goes from the national shows to the pro shows? So, what do you think we're going to see?
Well, I hope the posing is going to get really dialed in.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope that it starts to look like kind of very uniform, if you will. But obviously everybody has their flair, but I feel like the posing is still a little bit off right now. Like not everybody hits the stallion pose correctly.
Yeah.
Not everybody are taking the transitional poses and actually transitioning and not holding. So just kind of getting more of a, like a uniform look of, you know, the posing and what foot model is. I'm still confused at a national level with the fit model. You know, like, and again, it depends on the athlete that shows up. I think we're all still trying to work through what the division is. You know, especially in the glutes. You know, like how much tie-in, how much etched. You know, because in one division, the best girl on stage that day is, you know, a little bit softer with like not a lot of tie-in, and then the next group comes out and the girl is etched tie-ins, and it's just really hard right now to kind of figure that out. So just really nailing like what the look is, you know, because a lot of these overall winners from the past few national shows, if you put them together, they all look completely different in that back pose. So, and again, it's not the judging, it's what is the best in that show. So it's just, it's hard right now to really understand that.
Yeah, I agree. And it's not like we're getting an influx of people coming into fit model.
Yeah.
These divisions and these classes are small. So,
and I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
I was expecting it to be bigger.
Yeah. I think probably part of the reason why they're not is because people don't know what it is yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that a lot of people are kind of holding out, waiting to see if they fit or if they don't.
Right.
So, you know, I just want to be really encouraging to just give it a try if you're thinking about it, because then at least we can get some bodies on stage and kind of narrow down what it is we're looking for. You know, a lot of people are doing local shows in bikini and then they're going to national level and they're doing really, really well in fit model, you know, but they're not doing well in bikini. So we don't know until you get up there, until we get a bunch of bodies up there that are all closer to the criteria to know what that criteria is going to be.
And I'm seeing like this like spectrum too of like girls that are very new, probably just decided they wanted to do this and then they stepped on stage, so not a lot of muscle at all, and then some that are very much bikini, you know, and it's just hard to just really try to figure out, you know, is that going to be awarded or not. And I will say that the girls that come out and they look very bikini, they're not getting awarded right now. They're being told that they need to go back to bikini. So again, it's that trial and error of trying to figure out what this division is and what they want and don't want. And I was talking to Sandy after Masters Nationals, and she said that they have a difficult time because it's so broad of the bodies that are up there, but they dealt with this too when wellness first came out. So these are the growing pains. This is normal. This is not a judging thing. This is literally just everybody as an organization and as an athlete perspective trying to figure out what it is.
Yeah. And I also think that once we get to the pro level, it's going to be a lot easier to find that, because we're going to be going from people that have already been chosen, first of all, they're in the pro league, but then also girls who have been in bikini in the pro league and are coming down. So, you know, there's going to be a lot of girls that are showing up that haven't competed in 10 years because they haven't ever built the size to move up to bikini, and they stopped competing back when that look was in, when Ashley was winning the Olympias. You know, a lot of those girls are planning on coming back, and they've pretty much stayed the same as far as their physique is concerned. So once we get those girls back on stage, along with the new crop of pros that are coming in, things like that, I think that we're going to be able to really nail down the actual criteria for this division a lot easier. Because still, even at the local level, or at the national level, the girls that are coming up from the local level really don't have to qualify much. There's like 4 girls in a class at local level, so you're really not beating a whole lot of people in order to be nationally qualified.
To really know where you stand.
Yeah. And so we don't have like a really thick amount of competitors for this division yet, so it's not like these girls are going show like a lot of the bikini girls are,
right?
You know, so we just don't know yet. So I do think that once we get to the pro league, we're going to see that the criteria get better. But I think we're going to see the physiques that were like the Ashley Caldwells of the day. We're going to see the India Polinos back in the day. We're going to see those showing up and those getting rewarded. The high round full glutes without that full separation of tie-in and the teeny tiny little waistlines. So that's where I think we're going to see that, but that won't happen until next year. And again, the same thing happened, like she said, with wellness. Like it was really all over the place the first couple of years, and then they started to really nail it down.
And now I don't question wellness at all. I know exactly what they're looking for. But in that first year, I was like, what are we looking at? How I feel now about fit model. So I know it's going to come around. So I'm very confident in that. But right now it's...
Yeah, and a lot of the girls that were competitive at the pro level, the Olympia level in wellness the first couple of years aren't even on the radar anymore because they don't fit. You know, Euretia is a perfect example. Everybody thought she was going to be the next, you know, Olympia champion, and she just doesn't fit the mold anymore.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, the division itself as on the pro level too, you know, is changing a little bit each year as well. So I also know too of two really good bikini pros. I'm not going to say their names, are coming out next year in the fit model category, and they are perfect for this division. So again, too, like that's another wrench in the system, right? Because these girls are developed, but they're perfect for the fit model division. They're beautiful, they're stunning, their posing's amazing. So like they're going to change the waves, they're going to change the game. So I think we just got to wait and see.
And I would also say too, like if you're questioning and thinking about doing fit model, just do it, you know, and just see, just get your feedback. They're going to give you feedback one way or another, whether you're too developed or not developed enough or whatever it is, but then at least you know what direction to go at that point. And I would also say, don't come in too lean. That's the biggest thing that I would say. Don't come in shredded, don't come in, you know, grainy and hard with separation and all those kinds of things and the striations and stuff, because we're seeing that, and they are very, very clear that they don't want to see that.
They do not want to see that, and they definitely don't want to see etched tie-ins. But again, if that's the best looking girl in that group, that's what they're going to pick, which makes it confusing. But they do not want to see that. So don't over push in that back pose. Don't be chasing for tie-ins like we do in bikini. Like that's not what this division is.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So another question that was sent in that I remember was, what was something that bodybuilding gave you in your life that was unexpected, that you didn't expect to gain from being in bodybuilding?
Honestly, the community.
Yeah.
I think the perception of people outside of the sport until they really get into it is that people are very selfish in bodybuilding, and we're selfish, and we all have our type A personalities, but in the same way we have massive respect for each other because we all know what we do day in and day out, and we are supportive of each other. We're on our own journey, but I know that if I've reached out to anybody and asked for help, they're there and, you know, right back at them for me. So really the community, like I tell people all the time, people are like, oh my gosh, I don't know how you do it. How do you go to a show every weekend and stay on prep and blah, blah, blah. Because I know if I run into an issue, I could call 10 people who are all here this weekend and they got me. They have my back. They could take care of an athlete. If I forgot something, they probably have it for me. And this is outside of Fit Body Fusion. I mean, I'm friends with James Atlas. I'm friends with Kim Odo. I'm friends with everyone. And it's just really cool. Like you're hanging out with your friends every single weekend. So I was not expecting that. Like I came into the sport like, oh, the glamour and everybody's like into themselves. And, you know, there was mean girls backstage. I had a really awful first national show experience with a high level team. And it has never been like that ever since. But I was really turned off from the sport for a minute. But truly, like everybody is just so amazing. And I was a loner growing up. I was an only child. I didn't have a lot of friends in high school. We had like a small group of like 7 of us that were friends, but I have more friends now than I could ever want, you know, or need, you know, but it's so cool to like have that.
And I would agree with that also. And just the aspect of, I didn't expect my whole life to be revolving around the sport when I started in it. You know what I mean? My whole life revolves around it. It's true. Like how you sleep, how you eat, how you do your business. I mean,
I was just about to say that.
Literally, like everything revolves around this sport. And, you know, the concept that you said about the whole community thing, I think is what keeps us connected to it. Because it's one thing to go to the gym and eat right, you know, it's what you do to stay healthy or whatever, but to take it to that next level, to the athletic extremes that we take it to, you got to have a support system around you to be able to do that, you know, and not only does that push us in bodybuilding, but it pushes us in everything else that we do. You know, I take a lot of the principles that we have from just our daily training and diets and stuff like that in bodybuilding and apply them to everyday life. You know, you just check the boxes every single day, and that's what you do in everything in order to be successful. You know, you can't expect something to be successful if you slack off on it, bottom line. So yeah, you know, I think just learning those really like life principles from this sport, I didn't think that was going to be a thing, but you're right, the community aspect of it is the number one thing that has kept me in this for almost 20 years at this point. You know,
so. And if you don't have community, like start with like backstage. You know, when I first came into the sport, I was with a small local coach. I didn't have a team. I was always by myself backstage. But like Allegra, I met her backstage at this national show that I was just talking about, where I had a horrible experience with a team, and then I was actually forced into sitting next to Allegra, and we became great friends. And just put yourself out there backstage. Most of the girls are super nice. If you need help, if you feel alone, if your coach isn't on site, like ask someone for help. That's how I've met my greatest friends in this sport, is honestly just putting myself out there, which I'm not that type of person. So, just put yourself out there. You'll find it when you're best friends for life backstage, for sure. And it's hard when you first start bodybuilding because you shed a lot of your old life. The more you get involved in this, because there's people that don't understand what you're doing. It's a very extreme lifestyle, so you have to shed almost like your old friend groups or the ones that don't support you anymore, and find the ones that do. And you're gonna find those people at bodybuilding shows.
No, absolutely. And this goes back to what we talked about for last episode of the podcast too, where the stuff that's popping up on social media really bothers me, because that's not how the majority of us are. The shit that you see on social media with people like bad mouthing each other all the time, that doesn't actually take place when you're in the community.
Right.
So I would also encourage you, like if this is something that you're thinking about doing or something you're getting involved in at this point, realize that social media is the highlight reel. It's also a place for people to bitch and moan. Those people don't do that when you're when you're in the actual sport. Like we're really,
in the audience watching these people.
Yeah, we're really nice and cool people. Like I swear we're nice.
You know us in person, you know that.
No, I swear we're really nice people.
Yes.
But really, I mean, the majority of the people that I know in this industry would give you the shirt off their back in order to help you. Like we talked about, like just being, helping backstage. If a girl, breaks her heel, somebody's going to be there to say, hey, you can wear mine on stage. Those kinds of things. So the actual community of bodybuilding, the people that are involved in it are actually very, very good people, very helpful people, and they want to see themselves succeed, because yes, we are selfish. We've established that, but that also means that we know what you're going through as well, so we understand what we need to do to help you too.
Yes.
So, and we want to, At the end of the day, we've talked about this too. I want to be up on stage next to people that are at their best. I don't want to feel like I won by default because somebody had misinformation or something like that.
Yep.
So
Before I go out on stage, I'm looking at all the girls around me, their hair, or their suit tags tucked in.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm standing next to that girl, I want her to be at her 100%. So then I know if I beat her, it was worth it.
I was a good example. I was posing the other day, and the girl ran up to me and she goes, "Hey, your tampon string is hanging out." I said, "Thank you, appreciate you."
There was actually a girl that had hers out at Masters Nats.
Oh no!
And she won her pro card. And
Good for her.
but we were like, oh no,
Those
like
pictures.
the pictures. Yeah, but hey, So if you are cycling on your show day, check, triple check, quadruple check.
I know, right?
Have someone check for you, but just check.
Yeah,
Cut that string.
Yeah, absolutely. Have somebody go. Like literally, I've had this happen at shows where I'm like, I'll be like, I'll go to my back post. Can you look?
Yeah.
Can you look and see, make sure that I'm tucked in?
Yeah. I check my girls' butts like 100 times. I'm a little obsessive, but I just want to make sure everything's in. We've seen way too much over the last 2 years with that stuff. So,
Right? Yeah. Just be a friend.
Yeah.
Be a friend.
Please. We don't want to see it in the audience either, okay?
So I can't believe we just busted through all of those questions. Good for us. I had a couple more, but I can't remember what they were because I've got my phone up for our camera.
Well,
so.
It's kind of like we've done this before.
I know. We've done it a few hundred times now at this point.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Our 100th episode.
I know.
So freaking cool. Thank you guys for being here.
Yeah, so we are here at USA's this weekend. It is Thursday right now. I'm going to try and get this podcast out this afternoon, so that it'll be up for the whole weekend. So,
cool.
if you guys see us, who's the background?
Hey, Drew.
I was like, who is that back there?
Okay, well, I'll bring it to you in 5 minutes.
Get out. But anyway, so if you see us this weekend and things like that, then feel free to come say hello, as we always tell you guys to do that, or if you see us throughout the year, that kind of thing too. So I don't know how big this show. Do you know how big the show is going to be?
It's smaller than last year, and it was small last year.
Okay.
So it's smaller, but Fit Model filled in the gap of the lack of wellness in Bikini.
Okay.
So it's going to be about the same.
Okay.
If that makes sense. So like if Fit Model wasn't in it, the numbers would have been down.
Yeah, got it. Okay. So, because prejudging for women is tomorrow.
Yeah. So when women's prejudging begins at 9 a.m. PST, and then finals begins at 4, and then the guys are the same thing time-wise on Saturday.
Yeah, so it's a 2-day show.
And I get to go home on Saturday night. I booked a 10 o'clock flight, so I get to wake up in my own bed on Sunday morning. You guys, that is like so
yeah,
cool.
well, it's a hop, skip, and a jump. Like we talked about that.
So like 45 minutes.
Yeah, it's up and down. It's really easy. That's why I was able to go out there a couple times.
Yeah,
kind of
I
thing
flipped the
from
flight
here.
this morning. I'm like, out of here. I'm going to be home on Sunday morning.
No, that's fantastic. I mean, that is one thing that I like about being out here in Vegas too. Is just like we are pretty centrally located, meaning like we can get pretty much anywhere within a couple of hours, kind of thing. So it's actually not. It's pretty convenient.
It's a nice place to be. Other than in Vegas, microwaves are illegal. You guys do
Right.
not see that one back there in the back that I snuck in here. But this is the worst place for bodybuilding. It is. It's like it's a fire hazard. But you know what it actually is? They want you to buy food and beverage here. You know, a water bottle, and downstairs is like $20.
Right.
So
yeah, like because when I was here for the Olympia this last year, I met Rihanna for coffee after on Sunday or whatever it was, and went to Starbucks, and my Americano, my black Americano with nothing in it, was $8. I'm like, it's beans and water, you guys. It's beans and water. Literally, that's why I take my freaking French press with me everywhere.
Yes.
I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I don't even have any syrup or anything in here. Like, it's literally just espresso. That's it. That's all it is.
anyway, sorry, that was a
But that's Vegas in general. Everything in Vegas is really expensive, which is ridiculous. You can't even park anywhere. Like I tell people when they come here, like don't get a rental car because you're gonna have to pay to park it. So
that's why we don't. That's why we don't drive here.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm not paying $40 a day for parking.
No, you might as well just get Ubers if you go anywhere,
exactly.
or Instacart. Like I
most of the time I'm
Instacart
stuck.
Everything. Like even today, so my hair situation. Like even today, I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to Sally's. I was like, I can just have it Instacarted. So I have to. Long story short, I'm blonde again, as you can tell. But
she's almost there.
I gotta get it toned. So I went and got my hair done again just a couple days ago on Monday, and it wasn't even close to being where I wanted it to be. So I got annoyed after spending $1,200 at this point to try to get my hair blonde. And I was like, screw it, I'm gonna go bleach it myself. And so I did yesterday. But now
you want something done right, do it yourself.
That's right. So now I need to tone it, and I'm gonna put extensions in and just finish the final product because I was like, fuck this shit, I'm gonna be blonde.
So the next time I see you, you're gonna be blonde.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have blonde, long hair, all that fun stuff. So after freaking almost 6 months of this shit. So
beautiful.
Don't dye your hair with black box dye. Let me just put that out there because that's what took so fucking long.
That's what they say. I've never done it, but that's what they say.
Yeah,
we'll take your word for it.
No, listen, I'll be perfectly honest. Like up until this last hair appointment, I was like, I needed to get it done professionally. But this last hair appointment annoyed me because she didn't get it much lighter than what I had it the last time, and she cut like 3 inches off, and I was like, the whole reason why I did this in the first place was so I didn't have to lose all my hair, and now like I'm freaking losing it anyway, so fuck it. I'm like, I'm done. I'm like I'm bleaching the fucking shit out of this thing. I don't care. That's what I did.
Hair, man, it's complicated.
Oh, I feel better. I'm like, oh, I'm blonde.
Good. It looks really good. It'll
look much better once it's finished.
Of course.
Once it's finished, but it's close. It's almost there. I was very proud of myself last night. I almost went at it with bleach again. I was like, no, if I do that, it's gonna fall out. So I'm not gonna do that again.
Gotta chill.
Like,
gotta know when it shows.
I gotta know when to hold them, when to fold them, right?
Exactly.
Like Vegas.
I love that.
There you go.
Fold them.
Yeah, we're folding them right now. But yeah, I'm happy with it. So all of that said, so once again, guys, thank you so much for joining us for almost 2 years. We'll have to do another like special one. Maybe we'll do another Q&A for our actual 2-year anniversary in a month. And then we'll think of something after that.
All the things to celebrate.
It's always something. There's always something. There's always a reason for a party, right?
Absolutely.
So yes, like, comment, subscribe, like we talked about all the time. As always, we really appreciate when you guys comment and just give us like, even just a thank you for watching kind of thing. You know, we listen and watch all of the comments that you guys put up, and send in questions, obviously, because we will sit here and answer them for you as best of our ability to. So with all that said,
let's make a 100. This is going to be for the cover. You're going to do a 1.
1. Oh, that's
1,000.
$1,000.
Wait a minute. You do the 1 and I do the 2 zeros. Oh boy. And that's a great place to end it.
And we are actually blonde now.
Yeah.
We are really blondes. Okay. So for Behind the Bikini, we are out. Bye, guys.